What's going on, everybody? Today we'll be meal prepping this lemon pepper chicken and potato recipe, and it's awesome. And it's relatively low calorie with 473 calories per serving. So for anyone looking for sub 500 calorie recipes, this one's for you. So let's jump in on how to make it. Alright, so we'll first need to start with making our lemon pepper seasoning. So what I have here are ground lemon peels, and it's not necessary to do this, but if you wanted to, place lemon peels in your oven at 200 degrees for roughly 3 to 4 hours, or just until they can snap and they're no longer flimsy. So I'll add 2 teaspoons of that, then we'll go in with 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. Now we'll go ahead and mix this together, and if you don't want to go down this route of dehydrating your own lemon peels, it's totally fine. Just buy a lemon pepper seasoning from the store. Most of them are pretty solid, so you're not going to be disappointed if you just use that. Now what we're going to do is take 1,000 grams of chicken breast and very simply just layer some seasonings on both sides here after hitting it with some oil. And the oil component is optional, I suppose, but I generally add it because it helps the seasoning stick to both sides, so I would recommend doing it. But go ahead and press that seasoning in, and you'll see I'm reserving some of that lemon pepper seasoning for what's next. I'm going to let my chicken set for a second now, but what's next is I want to get my potatoes in the oven. So to a large baking tray, we'll hit this with some oil, then toss in 1,360 grams of diced Yukon Gold potatoes. And hey, if you like your potatoes in some other shape or consistency, feel free to make it another way. I generally just like mine in bite-sized pieces because I think it's easier. But we'll go ahead and hit the potatoes with some oil, then season with 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 4 cloves of grated garlic, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and then I'm just going to pour over the rest of my lemon pepper seasoning before mixing everything together. And optionally, if you're just going to buy the lemon pepper seasoning from the store, just use that on your potatoes as your seasoning. You don't have to add each one of these components. Now we'll toss the potatoes in a 475 degree Fahrenheit oven for roughly 30 minutes or so, or until the potatoes are cooked through how you like them. Perfect, so let's go ahead and cook that chicken. It's a very simple and not very new process that we're going to use today to cook our chicken. Very simply, let's go ahead and get some color on both sides first, and I'm going to need to do mine in 2 batches here to fit all of my chicken because my pan's not big enough. And you'll see I generally use a grill style cast iron, but a flat cast iron works perfectly fine here too. Now once we have some color on both sides of the chicken breast, let's get all of it tossed back into the pan here. We'll hit this with some lemon juice over the top and add some lemon zest to the chicken as well. I forgot this step, but it would add a ton of nice lemony flavor, so don't skip that step if you don't have to. Now we'll toss this in the oven at 475 with our potatoes until the chicken reaches 165. Alright, the last step today is just making our sauce, for which I wanted a lemon garlic aioli. So to a mixing bowl, add 100 grams of light sour cream, 1 to 2 cloves of grated garlic, depending on how much you like garlic and how big your cloves are, a wedge of lemon juice, or a little more if you really like that lemony flavor. You could always go with 2 wedges, and then a pinch of salt. And I'll just mention too that ranch would absolutely crush with this dish. So if you wanted ranch instead of an aioli, go for it, and I wouldn't blame you at all for doing it. You can reference our chicken bacon ranch recipe for the ranch recipe that we have. Nice. Now prepping is not too hard, obviously, but there are a few key steps that I think can go overlooked. So we'll go in first with a bed of roasted potatoes, and to that, don't skip on hitting this with some extra salt and some extra lemon juice. I think that's very important to the flavor and really rounds things out at the end here. Now we'll top the potatoes with our chicken, which you can see I just sliced off to the side, and then we're going to hit that as well with some not so optionally lemon juice. And then finally we can top all this off with our sauce, for which my bottle was clearly struggling at the end here with getting my aioli out, so that's kind of frustrating. But anyways, and then finally top all of this off with some chopped parsley for garnish. Alright, well, it's not hard to be a huge fan of lemon pepper chicken, so I don't think I need to encourage you guys too much to try this recipe out, but in any event, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with more recipes soon.